A colossal shingle-style mansion currently sits in limbo, its fate yet to be determined. But beyond its overgrown facade and cracking walls is the story of a man who introduced the world to pink grapefruit and revolutionized an industry. Hi everyone, Ken here. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. Born in Buckfield, Maine in 1853, Kimball Chase Atwood grew up in modest surroundings. His father was a Baptist deacon and merchant, and the young Kimball often spent school breaks clerking in the family's general store, and though the simple life was good, he had ambitions beyond a small town. At 19, he moved to New York City in search of opportunity. His start was humble, first as a bookkeeper at a dry goods commission house, then as a cashier at a small insurance firm. Yet these early professional stops introduced him to a field in which he would soon make his name. By 1885, Atwood's ambition and life savings culminated in the co-founding of the Preferred Mutual Accident Insurance Association. Over time, it became known for introducing popular new types of accident policies and rapidly expanded its business. Atwood rose through the ranks from secretary to general manager and eventually president. While this venture provided Atwood's initial wealth, his second venture would firmly cement him as a man of broad entrepreneurial talent. In 1890, a hunting and fishing trip took him to Manatee County, Florida. Struck by the region's natural abundance, particularly its citrus, he purchased 265 acres of wild, overgrown land on the Manatee River in 1892. Over the next several years, he hired hundreds of workers to clear it and began planting tomatoes. This first cash crop proved profitable, emboldening him to try what he truly loved, grapefruit. In 1897, he and his team painstakingly planted 16,000 grapefruit trees in rows that reportedly stretched a mile each, a total of 96 linear miles of citrus. Building a quarter-mile-long pier with a packing house at its end, Atwood shipped fruit by steamer and later by rail. Known as the Atwood Grapefruit Company, this colossal grove became the largest grapefruit operation in the world, reputed to produce 80,000 boxes of fruit annually. His advertising savvy earned him customers throughout the United States and abroad, and even King George V of England famously enjoyed Atwood's grapefruit. A chance discovery of a pink variety by one of his foremen ultimately contributed to pink grapefruit's rise to international popularity. Flush with success, Atwood turned his attention to creating a grand home in northern New Jersey. In 1895, he purchased land in Oradell, which included a historic Dutch colonial farmhouse which once belonged to the Tebow family, the ancestors of football legend Tim Tebow. He razed the old structure and built a striking shingle-style mansion on Kinderkamack Road, perched high on a slope with a commanding view of the Hackensack Valley. Naming it Northland, he spared no expense. Newspapers of the era hailed it as one of the most impressive homes in the region. Designed by Patterson architect Fred Wesley Wentworth, the mansion featured imposing gables, conical roof towers, and a sweeping lawn that cascaded toward the main road. Inside were lavish woodwork, onyx fireplaces, and a dedicated art gallery, all sumptuously tailored to the Gilded Age grandeur Atwood enjoyed. He sold Northland in 1926 to a second prominent family, the Blauvelts. Over time, the property took on the name Atwood-Blauvelt Mansion. After its sale, Atwood still oversaw his grapefruit interest in Florida, maintained his position in insurance, and continued to be recognized as a dynamic, charitable figure. With so much going on in his life, he had little need for a grand estate and preferred apartment living up north. Interestingly, the site of his Riverside Drive apartment had previously been the residence of Samuel G. Bain, which we explored in more detail in this video, which I'll have linked at the end of this one. He passed away there in 1934, leaving behind a reputation as both a pioneer of accident insurance and a driving force in popularizing grapefruit as a commercial crop. The Atwood-Blauvelt Mansion, once called Northland and later Bluefield by its subsequent owner, remains perched in Oradell. Though it once hosted stylish galas and housed an illustrious art collection, after all, the carriage house next door still operates as an art museum. However, the main residence faces an uncertain fate. Currently owned by a senior care company, the mansion has deteriorated over the years. Preservationists and local community members have voiced concerns, alleging possible demolition by neglect. While the building is deemed eligible for placement on the National Register of Historic Places, formal listing has yet to be completed. For now, it stands weathering the elements, its fate in limbo, an architectural beacon of a bygone era awaiting rescue or revival. The future of his once glorious Oradell estate rests on the hope that its storied walls can still be preserved for future generations to come. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, and while you're there, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.